Hello everyone, this is Food is a Conversation, Alumni Edition, session 36. And today we are we rescheduled someone from last week because rescheduling can happen. But what are these conversations about? So basically, this conversation happened twice a week, once on Tuesday and once on Thursday. And we introduce our ecosystem members who attended any of the educational programs organized by the Future Food Institute. Let it be the Food Innovation Master Program I attended myself, or the summer courses we organized around Mediterranean diet, or the Food and Climate Shaper digital or in-person bootcamps. So today we actually have someone who attended both the in-person and the digital bootcamp this year. And while we are waiting for her to connect, I would like to tell you a bit more about the session. So it will be very casual. You will get to know the person. What is their connection to future food? The bootcamp, what is their local food system, and what is their connection to food as such. Hi, Lauren.
Hello, hi, how are you?
Very good. Good morning. Just quickly finish the intro. So Lauren will talk about food systems in the US and also where she's based right now in Bologna, and about her key learnings from the bootcamp and how she imagines her future food system. So I encourage everyone, please, to post your questions in the chat. We will make sure that we find time to answer them. And now, without any further ado, oh yes, if you need to run out or you will join us later, you will always find this conversation on IGTV later and also on our YouTube channel. So now, Lauren, please introduce yourself, tell us where you are from, where are you based, and how did you become a food and climate shaper?
Yes, of course. My name is Lauren Greco, and I'm from the United States, from Ohio, and I relocated to Bologna a year ago. Now I am studying food systems, and I came to know the Future Food Institute from a hackathon I participated in May, I believe, and we were challenged to work on food supply chain during COVID. And my team came up with helping small farmers and helping them to go digital with their work so they could sell more. And one of our mentors or people helping us happened to be Sada Roversi and Future Food Institute. And that's kind of how I first really worked with them and came in contact with them on a personal level. And then their Alchemist team was super generous and let us film our videos for our farmers, like our digital videos, film in the Scuderia here in Bologna. Yeah, that's how I came to know them.
Very nice. So before you came to Europe, you worked as a public health educator. And what do you think, why is it important, the work, what you have done, the activities, what you carried out with the Local Matters platform, institution, company?
Yeah,
Yes.
they're very small nonprofit in Ohio. But yeah, public health educator, what does that really mean? It's kind of a broad term. I specifically focus on health promotion, food education, food advocacy, which is a lot of umbrella terms. But basically, as my role, I worked with disadvantaged people in Ohio, and we did a lot of farmers markets, food pantries. I don't know if they have food pantries in Europe or not, or how
Can you explain what is a food pantry?
it's food that is donated locally,
Oh,
and it's all in one spot, and you can come to pick up what you need, all for free. So what we did at Local Matters is we would go to the food pantry, set up a table, and cook with the ingredients in the food pantry to show people what they can make or how easy the recipes can be. So that was a really cool aspect. And actually, one of my favorite parts was doing grocery store tours. As you know, in the United States, our grocery stores are absolutely enormous, like really hard to navigate. And there's, like a marketing scheme, how they organize everything. And what we would do was go through dairy, grains, canned food, frozen food, meat, yeah, everything, and go through it with them and kind of help them feel empowered to make more healthy choices. Like, for example, in the canned aisle, a lot of people have misconceptions of canned food being like kind of gross and not healthy. But in reality, like they're often at peak freshness. They're canned. One of the examples is like fruit that sits in its own syrup or in added fruit juice. They're like the sugar content is just crazy, crazy. And a lot of the people that we were helping had never known this or known that they like just these small discrepancies. So even though it seems very small scale to me, I felt really, it was like really humbling because I knew the next time they go to the grocery store, they know how to navigate and make better choices. And it's something you do like very, maybe 2 or 3 times a week, depending where you live. And also one of our challenges at the end was we gave them $10 and they had to feed a family of 4 with the $10. And it's very doable. Like it really is, especially if you go to the frozen aisle and you get like frozen vegetables, maybe like canned tuna or canned or grain. So it is really possible. Yeah, that was one of like the big pillars of what we did. And lastly, we had there's lots of farmers markets in Ohio, and we would do cooking demonstrations there too with like knife skills for both children to adolescents to adults. So yeah,
That's really good.
it's very big umbrella public health, and I think that this specific section, health promotion, health education, is really, really important because you can really empower like the small kids from such an early age and get them excited about, different textures, different flavors. And like there is a rule that you absolutely cannot say ew if you try something. So you can say like, it's not my favorite. So we have a rule. You can say, oh, it's not my favorite, but you're not allowed to say ew.
Yes, that's very good. And I think it's also very important to start this in a very early stage because that's when kids develop their taste profiles as well. So how do we expect them in a later stage to actually incorporate bitter ingredients in their diet if they never actually got introduced to it, right? So we also run currently a research project about nutrition inequalities and food literacy and the relation of nutrients to your health and so on is something what is clearly having a gap right now. So going back to the food pantry, I just have one question because I think it really is more similar to the food bank pickup locations, at least here in Berlin. And we had an event a few months ago where they explained that actually they have too much food now to distribute, and they are trying to find a way how to also communicate to average people that coming to a food bank to get food should not feel socially degraded or anything. It's still completely fine edible food, and if we want to avoid them actually creating surplus as well, people should feel comfortable coming to these locations and consider them as food source as well. So how did you experience that in the US? Were people did they have a weird perception of going to a food pantry to get food from there?
I definitely think that's absolutely right. And I would have no problem going to the food pantry because unlike the AmeriCorps stipend, it's not a lot of money. So I would go, and if there was leftovers, definitely take it. From what I could see though, I don't see a lot of people my age embracing going there and not feeling kind of embarrassed. So there is still a stigma, I believe, to go there, but we should take advantage of those things because it is just going to go bad. And I think it has a lot to do with the location too. Sometimes it's maybe like not in the safest area of the city and people then have a bad misconception of it. But yeah, because also at our food pantries, a lot of the food went wasted as well, unfortunately.
Yeah, definitely. Well, hopefully this is changing. We just have to have more conversations around it and make people feel more comfortable. So you already mentioned before the hackathon what you participated on in May, but you also took part on different other food events like a workshop from EIT Food and the Legambiente Sustainability Workshop. So would you want to tell us a bit about these activities, but nowadays basically everyone can join if they want to get a bit more involved in the food scene?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the hackathons are a great way to enter like any type of innovation. It could be food, just any sector. It's really, really helpful in both your personal and professional life. And last December, I went to Modena for a weekend long hackathon with Liga Ambiente. Um, and yeah, it was like nonstop, 24/7, really pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone. Each team was assigned different tasks. I didn't have food specifically. I had relax. So for example, at concert venues, like think of Lollapalooza, these huge concerts, the areas that you see where you have a second to, break away from all of the people and have a second to relax. How can we make that more sustainable and not have as much waste, or also create connectivity with strangers? So that was really cool, a really interesting hackathon. I liked that. And then, like I mentioned, with Future Food, our project with UNA 10, working on food supply chain. And that for that we chose like the weakest link of the food supply chain, which we believed are small, very small rural farmers who only communicate by way of mouth or word of mouth. They don't really promote themselves on Facebook or Instagram. And how can they keep up with their competitors especially during this time when they're not so well versed in these digital tools? How can we help them?
Yeah, very good. So, if someone who never participated on a hackathon, what would you tell them? How should they imagine that crazy 48 hours?
I would tell them to be really open-minded, and also for me it was a big challenge of how to work in a team with some people that maybe you didn't get along with or you had different ideas. So just to be as open-minded as possible, and yeah, that was my biggest takeaway. And because I feel like some people can get bossy or really competitive.
Yeah, that's very true. When we do the applications for the bootcamp, we also ask people how do they see themselves, what is the natural role they take on in a team, because right, we all are different. But especially when you go to these events, people are already motivated, right? So they have a drive, and therefore, like that role of being the boss is taken over by multiple people a lot of times in teams. Yes, that's true. But I think it also is helping to actually improve your team working skills, because this is something what we need to understand in the future is very valuable. And I think you see team working on every CV nowadays, written as one of the skills. Yet I'm not sure if everyone really understands what that entails. So yeah, we have to work on these skills for the future, for sure. So and then yeah, sorry, go.
You have like a multidisciplinary background, not to feel intimidated also to join hackathons, because I had the impression of, oh, this is for like really techie people, or is this for only certain type of people? But it's absolutely not true. Like I think the teams benefit the most from the more diverse the team members.
I agree. So then afterwards, in July, you joined the digital bootcamp, and we had the chance to also meet each other in person in Pollica. So could you tell me what were your key takeaways, and how would you describe this learning experience? What can other people who would like to apply now for the upcoming one, what could they expect?
Okay, for a digital experience, learning experience, it's always uncertain how can you feel connected with others through these platforms. But I felt that during the whole month-long digital boot camp, I really felt like I connected with everyone, even if it was through the screen. I felt like Future Food did a great job using tools like in-class activities and games to keep us stimulated. And it was really, really cool to work with or to hear from people from all over the world, which if you are, right now, especially not being able to travel, it's nice to hear people how they're experiencing difficulties in their countries and how they bring their mindset and culture into a lot of the different sustainability topics that we discuss with cities and food, kitchen. So that was really, really one of my favorite parts, I think, was the diversity, the exchange of cultures and ideas, inclusivity, very welcoming environment. And also I learned so much, and I have like a full notebook full of all of our lessons. So
Very good, very good. So if here I actually would need to do some advertisement as well. So our next bootcamp is coming up on the 20th of November, again in a digital format. It's a 4-week part-time course following 4 different tracks. Actually, Lauren, you were attending all 4 of them, right?
Yes.
Yes, so you can actually follow all 4 paths because it's just increasing the number of classes you can follow live. So it's a mixture of recorded classes, interactive live sessions, but also some other things. But I won't spoil now. I'm very happy to talk about it during our application process. So I encourage everyone to go online, check out the webpage. We also have the learning journal of the previous batch online, so you can see who were the participants, who were the speakers for the different tracks, and yeah, just send in your application so we can have a chat and see if this is something what a challenge what you would like to take on in November. So going closer to the end, I actually have one more hackathon related question for you. Because of course the digital bootcamp and the bootcamps we always close with a hackathon. And your team during the digital bootcamp actually started to work on a very interesting project. Do you want to tell us how did you actually ended up in that team? What was your drive to join that specific challenge? And what was the outcome, what you delivered at the end of the bootcamp?
Yeah, my team, I think I'm always drawn to the projects that work on education, um, because I think that that is like the first way to change mindsets, and it's a really pivotal part. And my team was, we talked about knowledge and using Charles Michael's food recommendations. So we were also creating a game, and I do not have experience with gamification, but we wanted to kind of like Cards Against Humanity style do a game where you can, you know, feel free to discuss about sustainability and not feel like judged. And I don't know if you've heard of We're Not Really Strangers, but that kind of discussion based topic. And our project is still in the works right now, and we're still working on it. So I have a lot of pending pending hackathon projects.
Very good, very good. So, for everyone, if you have any experience in gamification, get in touch with Lauren. I think their team could use some support. So, if you would like to be involved in a food sustainability project, which is also in a gamified way, and help food education and increasing food literacy, reach out to them because this is what we also try to advocate for, and that's collaboration and how joining forces with different disciplines can actually lead to very interesting ideas. So these sessions are always closed with the same question, and I ask everyone how did they imagine or imagine their food future. And now please, you can remove all of the barriers, obstacles, everything. You can get really utopistic. How would you like to see our food future?
Okay, wow. If I was getting really utopistic, I would imagine that everyone could be living in their own utopia. But if we're talking about food, I think that I would like to see affordability, um, access, and let's see, affordability, access, and yeah, those two things for food I think would be really important to really make a difference and not have nutrition look like this very expensive and intimidating thing.
Yeah. How would you, especially because you worked with farmers on a project to empower small scale farmers, because affordability for me is a very complex element to achieve. Living in Germany, where people spend the least or very little from their monthly income on food, thanks to mainly to the discounter culture. So I cannot say that food is not affordable here. Yet I don't think it's necessarily leading to a sustainable food future. So how do you think can this be balanced to make sure that those farmers have their livelihood secured, but also everyone has access to food?
Well, we were kind of thinking if somehow there could be a meeting point between the farms and the cities, like some kind of cart or on the go method where, you know, the people can travel not so far from the city and they can meet the farmers halfway. And that way, or there could be like an exchange of WhatsApp messages. Hey, we have some excess of this, like you can come pick it up here. I think that that could be a good option for people in urban environments who are kind of dissociated with the farm life and what actually on the daily basis for the farmers, because they're out in the field, you know, like they're not on their phones, and so who knows what happens with some of the food that they have that's in excess.
Yeah, amazing. Lauren, thank you so much for being here with me today. For everyone who joined later, this conversation will be posted on our IGTV, and you will also find it later on our YouTube channel, along all of the other 35 sessions that we have hosted before. And I again encourage everyone to check out the Future Food Academy website and see if the digital bootcamp is something you would like to spend your November, December with. Very great Christmas present, I feel. Like, what a great thing to accomplish a bootcamp just before Christmas. And the next session will be next Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Central European Time with another alumni from another part of the world. I would not say anything more, but we will post it very soon. And Lauren, thank you again for your contribution
Everyone
today.
for listening, and hope to hear from you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.